Welcome back, people. It's Ryan here, and today I want to talk about Final Fantasy VII. As of recently, we have so much new information about this game, and it's amazing because it's been years, literally years, since we had any solid information about this game. It's already been 5 years in the making, basically, even though the game actually came out, 20 years ago, back in '97? So, yeah, I am happy that we finally got some solid information because it's been here and there that we get little glimpses and everything. Maybe a trailer, then 2 years later we'll get another trailer. Well, thanks to E3, we finally got a lot of juicy details. And I want to go ahead and talk about them. So as of today with this video, this is going to be my hype video for Final Fantasy VII. This is going to be my thoughts for Final Fantasy VII. It's speculation. We don't know how this game's going to be. Everyone thinks that this game's going to be basically a rerun of the original. Maybe, but highly unlikely because I could tell you right now, thanks to the recent trailers and everything that we heard from this game, from the producers and what we saw, there's going to be a lot of big changes in this game. So let's go ahead and get into it. So, one of the main things that we got from the info we got from Final Fantasy VII is that we learned that how big this game's going to be. So, this game is literally going to have enough data to fit 2 Blu-ray discs. So we're going to have a multiple disc PS4 game. And that's amazing. Another crazy thing about this is there's so much content within this game that this game's not even the full Final Fantasy VII game. This remake, if I should give it a title, the title for this remake is Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1, because there's going to be multiple chapters of this game. So right now we already have concrete information that this whole first game that right here we have is going to be just the Midgard portion of the original game. And that is shocking, especially when they said that there's going to be 2 Blu-ray discs full of content of this Midgard section of the whole Final Fantasy VII story. So there's a lot of content added to this. We don't know what kind of content, but there's a lot of stuff in here. Basically, one main thing we could say about this is that the story is literally going to be expanded on. This is going to be a retelling. A remake, yes, but a retelling of the story. Added info, lore, stuff that we got not from the original game, but from other games, because a lot of time has passed. A lot of new releases came from Final Fantasy VII. Everyone remembers the compilation of Final Fantasy VII? That was before Crisis, after Crisis, Crisis Core. Wait a minute, did I make that one up? After Crisis? Whatever. It doesn't matter. The thing is that Adventure, there's Cerberus. There's a lot of games in the Final Fantasy VII universe that added content information to it. So that's crazy. Now, one of the shocking things is that there is going to be added story content, but also things are going to be changed up. One of the biggest changes is shown in the video trailer. As you can see, we found there's a scene in the trailer that shows, actually there's a few scenes that are crazy. One big significant scene is the whole first meetup between Cloud and Aerith. That scene, it is the same, but there's one big difference. There's phantoms or whatever floating around them. That never happened in the original, so that's added story right there. Another thing is we see Sephiroth in this trailer too. In the original, we don't see Sephiroth until way later in the game, so that's another big key point that changed. We're gonna actually see a physical manifestation of Sephiroth in the beginning part of the game, which is actually insane. And another thing that I found really awesome is that besides the, changing of the story and everything, there are also going to possibly be big changes for characters. For one, just to point out, we already know all the characters of Final Fantasy VII, but the thing is, all those characters are not going to be in this part of the game. Well, that's what I think. That's my theory right there, because if you think about it, the original Final Fantasy VII, you have a full cast. In this one, you're only going to have half of that cast, because just to name them out, there's Vincent, Cid, Yuffie, Kate Sif. Those 4 are going to be not probably shown in this game, not even playable. Maybe reference, I don't know, it depends on how they make the story and everything. But in the original, those characters are introduced outside of Midgar. You leave Midgar, you go into the world, that's where you meet those characters. There could be a possibility that you could hear some info about Vincent because he is connected to Shinra. But regardless, we won't see the other ones at all. But that's a that's a little thing right there, because if they're gonna lose half the cast, what can they do? Is this whole game gonna be just basically Cloud, Barrett, Tifa, and Aerith? We also have to mention Red. We don't know if Red's going to be in this game. The thing about that is he was introduced at the very end of Midgar, and we actually don't know how the setup for this game's going to be. Is he still going to be shown at the very end, or is he going to be shown at a different time during the story of this game? We don't know. Another crazy aspect is the members of Avalanche. Avalanche is the group that Barrett created. They go and destroy the reactors from Shinra's tower and all that. So one of the biggest things I've seen in the trailer is that there's more reference, there's more how should I say? There's a more presence of Avalanche. So the characters are Jesse, Biggs, and Wedge. Those are the three characters had that didn't really have a significant role in the past game. They were there, and then they disappeared, and then they came back, and what happens. But in this one, they have a more prominent role in the game, even though it is kind of the same. But they are doing something different, and it seems like they might have a bigger part with this game. Like I said, in the original, they were just here at the beginning. They disappeared, and they showed up at maybe the quarter end of the Midgar section. And here, we don't know. Maybe they decide because we don't have half crew, there's a possibility that maybe we'll get them as part of the main crew. Maybe we could get these characters, make them become main characters for your group for the whole Midgar section of the game. If anyone knows about what happens to them in the original game, yes, that can probably still happen here. It will happen. But imagine the impact there'll be if they were involved from secondary characters to actually main characters, and then if their story continues as the way it did in the original, it'll be a major impact in this whole remake as a game and whole too. That'd be insane. But yeah, and another big difference is that there's the motorbike scene. I find that really cool because in the original FF7, the motorbike scene where you're driving around the motorbike destroying the soldiers that are chasing you, that happens at the tail end of the game. That's basically the climax of the first disc of Midgar, which Midgar was the first disc of the original PlayStation 1 game. And here I was thinking maybe they'll keep the formula and have that at the end. No, they changed that because obviously you could tell that this scene that shows Cloud driving a motorbike fighting soldiers, this is obviously in the early part of the game because you also have Jesse, Biggs, and Wedge with him. And that's a big telling point right there. What's happening? Where does this take place? We don't know. This could take place in any part of the game because it doesn't give you a definite clue of if it's before the reactor, after the reactor, or what. All we know is that there's soldiers chasing them. And I find that really crazy. Another big thing is that the gameplay. I have to say the gameplay looks amazing. As you can see right here, gameplay's top notch, and I really like how it's action based basically, but also a little twist of RPG turn based strategy and all that. But this is really cool. I really like how the action is going with here. Every press of the button is a slash of basically Cloud's sword, which is really cool, and I really love that. I mean, I do like fast action games, but I also like the old school turn-based games. I can't down that. I really enjoy those games too. But what's cool right here is that they actually made it into a mixture here. So they're trying to please both sides of the fandom. You have the old school RPG turn-based fans, and then you have the basically new RPG fans who like action-based stuff. But what's cool right here is that they combine them somewhat. So you do have your fast-paced action, and then what you want to do is that if you feel like doing the turn-based, thanks to the ATB bars, you do have that turn-based element in the battle system, and that's what the tactical battle system where time froze down when you use your ATB, and during this sequence you could choose what action you want to do. If you want to use an item, if you want to go ahead and use a special move, you can do that in this awesome slowdown scene. But if that's not your cup of tea and you want to go stay in or more action orientated section of the fight, you can always put your commands on hotkeys. So with a press of the button, you could just do a move and just have everything fast paced, which is also pretty awesome. But yeah, that's a nice style right there. And another thing I found out is that this is just the tip of the iceberg of the gameplay, because they're hinting that there's way more, that the gameplay, the combat system is more deeper than this. There's rumors that there could be a combo system with the characters in this game, and that's insane right there. But besides that, I like how you could control all the characters, one button, switch them on the fly, and it's literally, if you like, even with the action based, status, you still have to strategize how to do this. I mean, one good example is that you have Cloud with his Buster Sword. He'll be attacking. Well, there could be flying enemies. Cloud can hit them. What do? You have to switch to Barret and use his long range. And I bet you there's going to be a lot of possibilities of doing different battles with the different characters, because you have to strategize, and that's a really awesome aspect I like to get into too. So there's the gameplay right there, really amazing. Also, with more added content, if you want to compare to the old game to this remake, one big change is that you notice in the trailer, you notice that mostly with Cloud, he always has his Buster Sword with him, and that's his original long sword. Well, at the tail end of the trailer, when it shows Barret, Tifa, and Cloud, you could obviously see that Cloud has a different weapon, a different type of sword, more like a I can't cleaver. It looks more cleaver-like instead of the. Actually, no, they all look cleaver. I mean, it's a different design basically. So one big change is that in the original game, Cloud doesn't get a new weapon until the tail end of Midgar. It's only when he goes into Shinra Tower he finds a new weapon to use. And here, obviously, this scene takes place real early in the game also. And you already see him with a new weapon. So what does that tell you? That tells you that there's going to be multiple weapons. There might be way more weapons than they originally have in the original game, because like I said, these are going to be chapters. So this part of the game, you're going to have, basically in this remake series of games, you're going to have way more weapons than you originally did. And what's cool is that it shows right here. So not just Cloud, but Barret, Tifa, Aerith, they're all going to have multiple weapons throughout this whole section of the game, which is pretty cool. And another crazy element is this. You have the materia. And we're wondering if materia will come back. You know, the magic-based weapons and everything, and they are. But one shocking twist is that they're adding summoning magic to this section of the game, because in the original, summoning magic's not shown until you're outside in the outside world of Midgar. I mean, that's where you start getting summoning magic, and that's when the materia system expands really big too. I guess they're not going to do that with the original. I mean, with the remake, because they're going to have all that in the beginning of the game. I don't know how far, but they are adding summoning materia to this game, which is astonishing to think right there, because how's this going to work, you know? Because my take from the original, looking at this, Midgar, it's a closed section. It's like a closed world. You have town, city, slums. Underground stuff. It's all like seem claustrophobic, and it's crazy how besides having this crazy magic power in there, and you have summoning magic. So I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of summoning magic there is. We already got some hints of some of them. There's the Chocobo Chick, which is a pre-order. If you get that first class edition pre-order, besides the Chocobo Chick, you'll get the Cactar summoning deal, and I think Carnbuckle, if I recall. But yeah, it's crazy that they're adding summoning magic. I'm just wondering what else they're gonna add to it. I mean, they could be adding, like, maybe we'll see Chocobo stuff. You never know. It's crazy. But yeah, that's a cool aspect I'm waiting to look at. And there's really not much else to say. I mean, I am so happy with this game. I mean, seeing all this, it really blew my mind, because this is an amazing game that I enjoyed. I mean, I have fond memories playing this game. So I remember back in the day, I remember the first time I saw this game, I went to my grandparents' house, and my uncle, he was playing a video game. He had the PlayStation, he was playing a game, and I learned it was Final Fantasy VII. And what's cool is that it was my uncle playing it, and My brother was there just watching, and I was just watching too. And the cutscene that showed, it wasn't gameplay, it was just a cutscene. He made it all the way to the part where the ultimate weapons rise from the earth. And I just remember saying, oh my, that looks cool, because you see these crazy monsters coming out, and you see Cloud's group trying to run away in the high wind. And I just remember that, and it's crazy. It's been over 20 years since I saw that, and it's just insane. So it's just a memory I have. Besides that, I mean, that was back in '98, maybe. I can't recall what year it was, but it wasn't until maybe 2 years later, like more like in 2000, where myself got a PlayStation 1. My parents bought me a PlayStation 1, and I ended up getting Final Fantasy 7 eventually, and I got to play it back then. And I don't know, just there it goes right there. All the awesome stuff that happens on Final Fantasy 7. One of the greatest RPGs ever, and it's awesome. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff. I mean, hopefully everything I told y'all is stuff that's new. I mean, this stuff is already old news already, somewhat. So, unless you weren't looking at it, this will be new news to y'all. But I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I hope you like this setup too. I mean, I don't know how many times the videos looped, but regardless, it gave my point of showing you how awesome this game looks. And I'm looking forward to the release date. I don't think I even mentioned it. The release date of this game is March 3rd, 2020. So it's amazing to see what they do. I mean, besides that, they already introduced the majority of the characters. They still need to introduce Red, but I think they're just gonna keep that under wraps, because we don't know how playable he might be. It depends on how it goes. But we have Cloud, we have Barrett, we have Aerith, and we finally get to see Tifa too. So yeah, it's crazy. I'm looking forward to this. I hope you are too, and expect more videos in the future about Final Fantasy 7, because it is around the corner. I mean, it's March 3rd, 2020, but I'm just waiting for more news to come out. So let's just stay hype, y'all. And I'll see y'all next time, people. Take care.